Today I'm back with my April wrap-up, and for once I want to be in time with this video, so we will see how that goes. So today I have 4 books that I want to talk to you about, so let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is Bright Young Things by Anna Godbersen, something like that. I was really excited to read this book. I had seen it around BookTube, you know, classic story, BookTube made me buy it. And I was really excited. I had so many books that I enjoyed, and I was like in a really reading mood and just reading like crazy, and then this happened. So this book is set in the 1920s, and I have a hair. It's set in the 1920s and it follows 3 different girls. One is called Astrid, one is Cordelia, or Cord I think, and one is Letty. And these 3 have very different goals, very different character and stuff like that. So Astrid is a girl that is pretty much born rich, and her mom always marries like rich guys, and then she is not faithful, and then they divorce her and she's just moving on to the next one, and that is kind of the life that Astrid had. And she's in love with a boy who is going to be a relative of Cordelia, and yeah, she's kind of the flapper girl, but not really. In some ways she reminded me of Daisy from The Great Gatsby, like in the first half, but then she lost that carelessness, and I don't know, she changed a lot during the end of the book. Then Cordelia is a girl that has no family. Her mom died and her father got missing, and she lives with her aunt and uncle, I think, and then she decides to run away and go and search her father, which she knows who he is and that he's alive, and he's a very rich guy, and she finds him and things happen. And then the last girl is Letty, and I hated Letty. And I did not connect with her whatsoever. She's very annoying, very naive, and she is the best friend of Cordelia, and they leave their hometown to go to New York, and Letty wants to be a big singer or actress or something like that, just, you know, famous, her name's in lights and stuff like that, whatever. And she is just so... wow, I hated her. Like, they get to New York and she's like completely dependent on Cordelia, and then they have this huge fight out of nowhere, and I don't know, it's just, I didn't like her at all. So I had trouble with the characters. I think Cordelia is the most interesting one, and it feels like the author just wanted to tell her story, but then didn't have enough pages, so she made up 2 more girls. That's the feeling that I got. And I feel like it would have been so much more enjoyable if it concentrated on Cordelia's story, because that is the most interesting, and you know, some things might have happened still because, you know, they affect Cordelia's life, but then there's just stuff that is irrelevant, not interesting at all. And what I hated the most is that this is a typical young adult book for me that is not really thought through. It doesn't reflect on the time at any point. It just tells a story. There is no meaning behind anything. It is very... I don't know how to say it. It's very positive, but in the way that everything that happens is like way too romantic and way too happy, and there's only a little bit trouble in the last few pages, and like all of a sudden all 3 girls are in trouble. And the rest of the book is just, oh, everything's so pretty, everything's so great, we love life, and I don't know, there's just nothing there to tell. Like, I don't know, if I imagine I was a man in the position that Cordelia's father is, very rich, not completely legal, And then there's this girl just showing up on your party and claiming she's your daughter. Would you really let her move in instantly? I don't know, it just felt very weird to me. Most of the stuff didn't make sense. They would never have happened in my world. So yeah, I just didn't like this book too much. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't for me. And so again, there is 2 more books in this series, and now I don't know whether I really want to read this series because originally I don't like unfinished business, but this really got me in a reading slump and I don't know. So let me know what you think about the other books. Okay, the next one is by Rita Mae Brown and Sneaky Pie Brown, and it's called Rest in Pieces, or in German Ruhe in Fetzen. Now this is the second novel about Miss Murphy, the cat that solves murders, and this time her dog friend T. Tucker finds a hand, whatever, and they have to slowly find out what happened, who did it, and stuff like that. So again, if you haven't heard me talk about the first book, I really enjoy these. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. They are not perfect, but they're just great for me. So I love like these kind of criminal stories, like crime things. This is not like a thriller, it's not killing you, and it's not dark, and you know, no blood, no guts, even though with this one there's a little bit more than with the first one. But it's more a light-hearted read, but still it is interesting and you really want to know who did it. And what I like about these books is that you can guess who did it, because you know it's someone you know from the book, and it's just really interesting. And with this one I was completely right. With the other one I got it, but very late in the book. But with this one I had the right feeling about everything. So I really enjoyed this book. Again, you have a lot of like small town living in this book, because the owner of Miss Murphy, Harry, she lives in this very small town, and so it's just all about these different characters. They're lovely. I really like every single character that is in this book. They're interesting, they're different, they make sense. And this was just such a nice book and such a quick and fun read, and I really enjoy these books, and I will definitely read on with this series. I have actually ordered the next book already, and then I got another 2 books for Easter from my grandma, so I can continue on with Miss Murphy. I would completely recommend this if you like more light-hearted criminal novels. And then I have a children's book. This is Erich Kästner, and I don't know what the English title is. In German it is called Pünktchen und Anton. And this is a German children's book, and it was written in the 1930s, and it tells the story of 2 kids. One is Pünktchen, her real name is Louise, and she is a very, what's the word? Like a very tough girl. Her parents are rich, but they don't have any time for her, so she grows up basically with a, not a nurse, a nanny. And on the other hand, Anton is a very poor boy. I almost said girl. He's a boy, and he has to care for his sick mother, and he has to do all the work in the house or in the home, and all the work that is necessary to afford their flat and everything like that. So they are in very different points of their lives, but they're very good friends. And this book is just very quick to read. It has like really big font, it has nice illustrations from the time that it was published, and then it has also pictures from a movie that was made. And I really enjoyed this book. Again, I love Erich Kästner. These are just the books that I grew up with. And he's just so good in telling stories, even though it's kind of the same story over and over again, kind of. Like, this is very similar to Das doppelte Lotschen. I've talked about that before. I think it's something like Louis and Lottie, something like that. I don't know. But yeah. These are just my favorite children's books, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. And I just love, there's little chapters in there where he calls it Nachdenkerei, so thinking parts, I don't know. And he just tells things like about friendship, about being brave and stuff like that. So I think this is very good if you want to read it to your child, or if your child is just starting to read. This is very nice. So the last book I wanted to talk about is Artemis Fowl, the 4th book. I finally made it, so I have only 3 books left, I think. Or is it 8? Might be more. But yeah, the 4th book is more my cup of tea again. As you may know, I'm listening to the series on audiobooks, and I really like that. I enjoy that a lot, because honestly, I didn't like the first book that I read, so I started listening to it. And the 4th book was really interesting again. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it's much more well done than the 3rd one. Like, the 2nd one was good, the 3rd one was okay, and now the 4th one is better again, because now there is an enemy again, and Artemis is not the bad guy all the time, which I really like. I just don't like him being the mean boy that is always getting others into trouble. I just really prefer the way that the 4th one is, with the evil person that they have to fight. And then also, I really like the idea that he doesn't have his memory, and I just like the way that he gets his memory back. It's kind of different, like, from what you would expect, because he's such a mastermind, but then it completely makes sense, and I really loved that. And then obviously you have all the characters again. There's no change in characters, they're still the same from the 2nd and 3rd book. And meanwhile, I really fell in love with the dwarf. He's so funny, and he has a big part in the 4th book, which I really liked. And I think in the 5th book, I'm about halfway through. He's not that much involved, which is kind of sad, but I still like the 5th book. It's okay right now, and I'm excited to see what the 2nd half will be. But yeah, the 4th book definitely was better again, and I enjoyed it a little bit more. I enjoyed every single book more than the 1st book, but I don't know whether it was because I listened to it on audiobooks, or whether they are actually better. And I know what to expect, kind of. So if you have read Artemis Fowl, please let me know what you think about the series. I would really love to hear that. And other than that, I think this was it. I had 2 very good books and 2 mediocre books, and I would love to hear what you read in April, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye!